What a difference a week does make. The Bears finally putting a dub in the season, beating the Dallas Cowboys 31-14 at Soldier Field in week number 3. And boy, oh boy, was it a difference from what we saw in Detroit. Welcome on in to the Bear Report Rapid Reaction. I'm Steven Johnson, joined by Zack Pearson. And Zack, I feel like it's just a deep collective sigh of relief for everyone associated with the Chicago Bears, both within the team and fandom alike, for what I think was really a result that no one expected today.
Yeah, I mean, I expected a high-scoring game with both defenses, struggling, both, passing attacks probably getting going. But yeah, man, it was a good win for the Bears. It was a nice win. I was finally able to celebrate in the locker room, going 0-2 and then getting this win. They really had to have it because now, you set yourself up. You're going to Las Vegas. I don't want to get too far ahead, but you're going to Las Vegas with, a chance to beat a pretty Raiders team right now. And you go in your bye week at 2-2, feeling good. And maybe who knows from there. I mean, the schedule is a schedule, but injuries happen, things change. So, yeah, overall it was a good win, and they really needed it. Caleb Williams needed it. Ben Johnson needed it. I feel like this team collectively, being in that locker room kind of felt like they really needed this win. Otherwise, things probably would have gone really south in a hurry.
Yeah, thankfully we don't have to go through that scenario, but we can kind of run down here and then dive into more of what happened in the game here today against Dallas. Again, 31-14. Really, it was close there for a second. The Bears coming through, scoring 17 unanswered after it does end up being 14 all. Yeah. But the biggest set of the day here definitely being the explosive plays, like everything working for the Bears early on, throwing some trick plays in, a beautiful flea flicker where Caleb Williams hits Luther Burden, who it was fantastic seeing him more involved in the offensive game plan today and posting over 100 yards receiving on 3 carries to go with that touchdown. But Caleb Williams, 19 of 28, 298 yards and 4 touchdowns. Arguably his best performance as a Chicago Bear in his young career, just firing on all cylinders, being able to put together a pretty solid day overall, moving around, getting out of the pocket, and you could tell his mobility in moving sideline to sideline. The defense was not reacting to it very well. They were putting spies in place, and with that, the receivers just having a heyday with it. DJ Moore's touchdown, perfect example on 4th down, wide open because the spy who was more or less in charge of watching DJ Moore was just like, nope, I'm all done.
Yeah, I mean, and Caleb was good in the pocket too. I mean, he had an overall good day. And, the first drive he came out and, a couple corner routes, early in the game, a couple corner routes to Colson Loveland. You could kind of feel like, okay, they want to get different guys more involved. He missed the throw to Colson Loveland. I think they had a bad run, and then they had another like short throw on 3rd down, and they punted. And I think to me the play obviously that really stands out early is Tyreek Stevenson just stripping that ball away from Javonte Williams. There's a screen grab. It's RJ Akoh of Blogging the Boys put out a screen grab. I was like, everything was great until this moment, and it's like Javonte's got everyone beat, and then all of a sudden you see, Tyreek Stevenson coming behind him and stripping that ball away. And that just opened it up. Caleb finds Rome Odunze for a 35-yard touchdown. They tried jamming Rome at the line of scrimmage, and he just beat it easily. Cowboys get the field goal. The Bears come back, extend the lead. And then, I was saying, well, they're going to need some more points because 14 is not going to hold up. And that drive before the end of the half, for the Bears was important too. And honestly, like, getting a field goal to go up 17-14 and then getting that touchdown from, Caleb to Cole Kmet. And then you get the touchdown, the big drive in the 3rd quarter to essentially put it away. Yeah, Caleb looked really good. Now there's injuries. The Cowboys defense is not good, but celebrate the win. It's still a win. We saw what happened in Green Bay today. or in Cleveland with Green Bay losing to Cleveland. Anything can happen. Nothing is perfect or guaranteed in this league. So, overall, just I think a good day from Caleb Williams in the pocket, out of the pocket. They were moving the football. They look sharp. They were getting guys involved. I believe Caleb Williams completed passes to 8 different players, which is impressive. And I think the most important stat is no pre-snap penalties and no sacks in this game for the Bears offense.
Isn't that wild? Like,
yeah. Especially after the first 2 weeks.
Right. And don't get us wrong, there were some rough pieces along the offensive line. Again, I don't know what it is about Darnell Wright. He is just having a struggling first 3 weeks of this season, to where, he has a holding call that almost stalls a drive. He has another penalty as well on him. Just not a great day out of him, which was surprising overall. I mean, really, with what the Bears were able to put together, and penalties wise, 6 penalties for 41 yards, easily their least of the 3 games this season in terms of what they were able to do. But again, just not making as many mental mistakes as we have seen in the past, and really being able to overcome a lot of what did set them back at certain points, whether it was plays that just got blown up. Kyle Monangai, I get he's a rookie, but that backwards play where he lost 8 yards, I'm not really sure what he was doing there. But again, the Bears bounced back. They score a touchdown on that same drive. Running 11 straight running plays was wild enough, given the fact that the running game wasn't necessarily working for them today either. And for as much as we hear from Ben Johnson about having to set the tone, set the run, I'd say that, penalties aside, with, them doing much better, like you mentioned, at, no sacks, no pre-snap penalties, I can't help but feel a little ick about the running game and where it stands today, all things considered, because 87 yards on 29 carries, not ideal, well under 4 a touch. They are adamant about making DeAndre Swift that guy. He's not that guy. He just isn't. He's that change of pace.
But what do they have? What do they have? They don't have
nothing.
Anyone. Yeah,
and once again, Roschon, not a single carry again.
Yeah,
today
seems like he's been demoted to special teams. I don't know why. It just. I mean, I agree. Like I 100% agree. Like their run game is really, really bad. Like that's a bad run game. I mean, they're going to have to make DeAndre Swift a thing, because they just have no one. Kyle Monangai got what? He 6 carries, 16 yards. Bad, -8 on the one run. Other than that, Caleb Williams had 5 runs for 12 yards. DJ Moore had 3. Zacchaeus had 1. Burden had 1. They're going to have to get creative, but, and I can see what Ben Johnson wants to try and do, but at some point you're going to have to get a legit running back in here to break open the offense. And not only that, I think you need a dynamic back. I think you need a power back, and then a good third down back. And really, what do they have? They don't, Roschon should be the short yardage guy, and he's not. I don't know why. And like you said, Swift is not the guy that they envision, but they're going to have to keep forcing that, because they have no one. And it's, I'm curious why they don't bring anyone else in eventually, in the off season, or we know they like Travion Henderson from Ohio State.
Great. He's going to be on the Patriots for the next 4 years. So.
Well, but he's also been bad. He hasn't been great for the Patriots either. So even if they would have had him, I would agree. I mean, that's a big negative in this game. I think that's probably the biggest negative for the Bears today. And it's been a big negative in, 3 of the games. I'd say probably they've played 6 halves. The first half against Detroit, Swift had 50 yards, was fine, but other than that, 5 halves, they've been pretty bad running the football.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, again, like you mentioned, bringing somebody in. I don't think we're going to get to that point anytime soon, which is kind of frustrating, because there are guys that are on the market that have shown that ability to be rough and tumble with, picking up those strong yards, including a guy that was here and did have one good season in a Bears uniform, and Dante Foreman, he's still out there.
Yeah.
It's guys like that where, I wouldn't mind seeing a fire lit under that running back room, because I think for as much as we want to see the full Ben Johnson offense in effect, we're not going to, as long as we see this mediocre running game in place. And it was interesting, at halftime they had mentioned that Ben Johnson's comments were he wasn't fully satisfied despite the very strong first half, because they were relying so much on those explosive plays and not necessarily setting the tone and making sure that everything was running. And they did their best in that third quarter. I mean, taking up almost 10 minutes on a single drive and calling 11 straight runs is something. It's definitely something. Especially given the fact that so they had 11 total in that carry. So 11 of their 29 were on that one drive. Little interesting to say the least, but you got to do something. You can't just keep rolling this out, because, like a lot of people have said, this Dallas defense is not good. Like, it's just not. Like, there's nothing that stands out about it. They don't have a pass rush anymore. Their secondary is beat up, just like the Bears. This is a game that they should have been able to take advantage of, and they did, but they still weren't able to the fullest effect, which also leaves a little bit of, cause for concern, given there's some much more difficult games on the horizon.
Yeah, and I think it's too late to bring someone in like that. Like, I think they would have brought someone in already. I think unless there's an injury, I think there's gonna roll with essentially what they got and hope that somehow they figure it out. They should be able to run the ball against the Raiders, I'd say, but then again, you're going against Washington, and then the Saints, they probably should be able to run the football against, but the schedule gets a lot tougher after that. And even when you're facing teams you should beat, like the Giants, they have a really damn good front. The Browns, a really damn good front. So, the run game is a worry. But you have to like what you saw from the offense, the passing game today. And, you look at it, and Caleb Williams on pace for over 4,000 yards. He's got 8 touchdowns, one interception on the year. That's pretty damn good. He's on pace for a nice big season. And while a lot of these second-year quarterbacks are struggling, like look at Bo Nix today against the Chargers. Not very good. Jane Daniels, not very good against the Packers defense and is now hurt. Spencer Rattler was a top 3 from that class through 2 games this year, and he stunk today.
Michael Penix got skunked 30-0 today. Drake May,
And Michael Penix made some awful throws. And Drake May looked, honestly, through the first 2 weeks, it was probably Drake May looked the best in the 2 games. And he had a stinker today, fumbling at a key time. So it was always going to take time. It was always going to take patience. We don't have patience here. We're a sports city, just begging for a winner. Look what the Cubs did. They blew a divisional lead. Like, we're just begging for a winner. So, it was good to see that. And I think Caleb's taking the right steps. And it might not be fully flashy yet, but it's getting there. And it might not fully happen this year, but next year, we should be seeing more progress. And I think today was a good first step in that. I liked a lot what I saw from him today.
Yep, for sure. It was good all around from number 13 and or number 18. I don't know. He's 18 now. Why am I saying 13? I'm going back to USC. Defensively, let's talk about the defensive side of the ball, because I think out of the gate, at least from my vantage point, and I'm sure it was the same with what you were seeing at the game, it was, oh no, here we go again. Like Jamal, or excuse me, I am off with all the names today. Javonte Williams, not Jamal Williams. Javonte Williams looked like he was going to have his day with this Bears defense those first few carries, and then all of a sudden we see Tyreek Stevenson just appear out of thin air. He had a pretty darn good game today, all things considered. There have been a lot of critiques about Tyreek Stevenson over the last year for many very valid reasons.
Yeah.
But he stuck to it. And I think that there was a lot said, obviously, during the week about how, we need to finish plays. We need to make sure that we're, practicing like a playoff caliber team. All these comments that the coaching staff, you couldn't help but feel that a lot of it was directed at players like Tyreek Stevenson, who just clearly have not gotten the job done. And for him to go in there and basically just rip the ball out of Javonte Williams' hands, which I didn't think he stayed in bounds either. I thought he was out of bounds at first. It was a tone setter for the day. It was a very welcoming tone setter for the day because it flipped the script on a kind of a dud-ish first possession for the offense. And they say, all right, you know what? Here's the ball back. Go and finish it. They finished it immediately, and boom, the entire mentality just shifted.
I mean, Tyreek had a couple PBUs. He was pretty good in coverage.
Yeah.
We found out, I think Fox mentioned the Bears had like a meeting with players and Grady Jarrett spoke. We found out a little bit more of that. Jaquan Brisker told us that they had a meeting Wednesday and it was players only on the defensive side. A lot of guys talked. Grady Jarrett and Jaquan essentially led it. And guys just got things off their chest. And I think that was very important. Players meetings are not always good. No. But when you look at it, they need, after what happened in Detroit, and like someone like Tyreek Stevenson needed that. He needed to hear that from his teammates. I don't know exactly what was said, and we're never going to probably know what was said. But that was good. That was something that they needed, and they responded well. Not only that, but they responded well in practice, to what Ben Johnson said about, not practicing like a championship caliber team and not practicing hard, and the habits that they have are just, they're not where they need to be, offense and defense. So I think the message read, loud and clear. We have a comment here about Tremaine Edmonds. He was all over the field, the field. The 2 interceptions stand out, but he was really good in all of the assets. Noah Sewell came up with a big tackle, and, he's probably a guy that you're not, he's been playing bad, or he's been playing really good all year. Stepping in for TJ Edwards. Nashawn Wright played well. Jaquan Brisker played good. The front, the front had its struggles getting to the passer, but when the Cowboys had to go into essentially passing mode, you saw Dominic Robinson had his first sack since week 1 of the 2022 season. He had half a sack in 2023, but his first own sack since 2022, week 1 against the 49ers. Montez Sweat got his first sack of the year. They were getting pressure. Grady Jarrett probably should have had another one, the little penalty thing. But yeah, man, the defense stepped up, and I think, like I said, the message was read, heard loud and clear, and they went out and not only prepared better in practice, not only had that meeting, they executed during the game. That's the most important part.
That they did. Tremaine Edmonds, 15 total tackles. Noah Sewell, 11. So 2 double-digit tacklers in that linebacker group for the Bears defense. And again, like you mentioned, the interceptions from Tremaine Edmonds, just getting the job done. 2 interceptions and big ones at that, and being able to close out the game then with Kevin Byard and him picking up that third one. Again, just rattled all day. And I mean, in all honesty, we all know that CeeDee Lamb hurting his ankle early on definitely shifted what this game was. We get that, but at the same time, for what this Bears defense was doing the first 2 weeks, allowing offenses like the Vikings and a young quarterback in J.J. McCarthy in his first start, and like the Lions, who are a little bit more prolific, but frankly, let them throw it around the field without a care in the world. It was great to see them come back against a veteran quarterback like Dak, still with pretty solid weapons and guys like George Pickens. I mean, Jake Ferguson had 13 catches today. I mean, he was just, sitting there ready to roll anytime the tag needed him as that emergency valve. It was a strong game. They were finishing plays. A lot of the plays on the defensive side of the ball, you saw 2, 3, 4 Bears collapse on the ball carrier at different points. And again, just making sure that they weren't giving up was fantastic to see. Montez Sweat, first sack of the year, finally getting him on the board there. So it's big for getting him started up. I will say this. I respect that he led the players only meeting. I got to see more out of Grady Jarrett. I just do. The Bears got eaten alive up the middle today.
Yeah, they get eaten alive up the middle all year.
Yeah, I mean, Javonte Williams averaged 7.6 a carry.
Yeah,
they're lucky that it wasn't closer because he could have continued to do so without much resistance.
That's what I also didn't get at the end when it was still 31-14. They had the ball at the 1, 3rd and 1, and they didn't bring in Miles Sanders. And I'm like, why would they're gonna give it to Javonte? My fantasy team is just begging them to give it to Javonte. I essentially on one team, I don't want to get too much in the fantasy. I had one team. I needed a touchdown from Dak or Javonte. And they got the line of scrimmage. I'm like, all right, I'm getting one from someone. And they throw it like 10 yards out of bounds, overthrow. And then the next one is it's picked off. It's like if Javonte Williams, who's been, the defense did a good job, but he was punishing guys out there. Like, hitting them pretty hard, and you can't get 1 yard when you've been running up the middle. That was bad. But no, I agree. They need more up the middle too. Like Gervon Dexter, Andrew Billings has got to be better. Grady Jarrett's got to be better. They need more from those guys, and they need more from Dio Bingo. They need more from Montez Sweat. That defensive line's still a little worrisome. But with that said, the secondary played a pretty damn good game for not having Kyler Gordon and not having Jalen Johnson out there, despite CeeDee Lamb, missing the game. All right, but they did have George Pickens out there, and they did have Jake Ferguson and Turpin and a couple of those other guys.
Turpin is a quick dude.
Yeah.
We talked about that in Know Your Opponent last week, but I did not realize he was that fast.
Yeah, he's fast, man. Yeah.
I mean, there were times he didn't even look like he was running, and he was just outpacing everybody on the field. But that's the fun of having a weapon like that to kind of be your gadget guy no matter where he goes. So with this again, moving to 1-2, picking up that all important first victory. The focus is now getting back to 500, and it was nice to see the comments in the locker room and the Bears social media team really pushing everything that Caleb was saying, that Ben was saying, that everyone coming together and talking about how it's 1-0 this week. It's time to be 1-0 next week. And really just kind of simplifying that it's not all about what that actual win-loss total is. It's just week to week. Make sure that you get the job done. And I think the mentality of getting your pants, knocked off you a week ago to this, again, 2 different levels of competition. I get it. But the fact that they all looked like they didn't care about a week ago and they were there to get the job done. And I think that's the thing I enjoy most about what this coaching staff has brought in terms of a mentality. It's like even that flea flicker, like I mentioned, the long bomb, you see all the players celebrating, and then it cuts to Ben Johnson on the broadcast, and he's just sitting there pissed, stone face, pissed, like he just saw his team blow a 20-point lead. Like he knew it wasn't done, and I think I like that insanity about him, where he's just like, wait until it gets to zeros, then I'll go and celebrate. And celebrate he did, with the players in the locker room.
Yeah, I mean, that's week 1's probably scarred him for that, I mean, and now we look at it, dude, they are essentially one bad quarter from being tied with the Vikings, or well, they wouldn't be tied with the Vikings, but being tied with the Packers atop the NFC North and potentially the Lions. Like that they're one bad quarter away from that. And that's just crazy to me. But yeah, you see Ben and you see him, like you said, just still focused. He knows like game's not over with, but then seeing him at the end of the game and seeing them get the win and celebrate was big. And, hopefully they can carry this momentum over. I don't think winning at Las Vegas is easy for, what it is. I mean, the Raiders are not a very good team from what I can see from them. So yeah, you get this win, you go to 2-2. If you win next week, you go to an early bye week, maybe get Kyler Gordon healthy, maybe get a couple of these other guys, TJ Edwards healthy, and see what happens with Jalen Johnson. And you try and who knows, like maybe might be able to put themselves in a position where they can go out and get an edge rusher on the trade market if they need to, or go out and get a running back if one becomes available. But I don't know, man, we've seen a couple running backs already traded in the offseason and they really didn't want anything to do with them. So I don't know. But yeah,
we've seen some in the regular season. I mean, heck, Tank Bigsby going to Philly.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just like, after 1 week, see you later. We'll figure it out. But and that's the interesting thing is I think that at this point in where the season is at, you're going to see a bit of panic from teams that weren't necessarily expected to start the way that they did. There's some shocking 0-3, 1-2 teams, and even some others that are currently dealing with some serious injury situations where it might be worth picking up the phone and just saying, hey, just checking in, want to see where things are going. I think that door is even going to open up for Trey Hendrickson again for where he's at. I mean, the Bengals look bad today. That might be now a team that is destined for a top 5 pick, looking at the way that they played against the Vikings, because Jake Browning, he ain't it. Like that much is for certain.
That's bad, man.
But you look at the Jets, who are 0-3. They've got 3 running backs in that running back room that make you think, is there something there between Isaiah Davis, Braylon Allen, or even Breece Hall that makes sense? If you think this is all that you need to get that running game going, like, give them a call. The Falcons sitting at 1-2. The Texans at 0-3. They're sitting on a plethora of running backs as well.
Yeah, but do you want any of those guys?
Honestly,
I don't want Chubb. I don't want Chubb.
I don't want Chubb either. I will say that, but I would entertain talking to them about I can't. He didn't even get a carry today. That's how much he hasn't been involved. Wasn't Woody Marks. Woody Marks got carries today.
Okay.
He was big for Damian Pierce.
Oh yeah, I don't know why they don't.
A guy that had a significant impact for this team as a rookie, 939 yards, and then he just went silent after that. I mean, they brought in Joe Mixon, so that was obviously a big part of it. But to go from 220 carries to 145 to 40, and now he's only had 3 carries this year. Just bringing in a guy that is he going to be the answer? It's not for certain, but still, it's probably something better than what you have now in terms of a guy who could probably help you. And so I'm curious about, those types of players. The Saints sitting there as well. They've got a couple guys that make you think, does it make sense to maybe try and, check in with them? Kendre Miller. I'm just a big Kendre Miller fan. I don't think it's necessarily going to happen. But I mean, they drafted Devin Neal.
Yeah.
I mean, there's another opportunity to say, okay, maybe there's something there. I don't know. Again, hypothesizing, but it's something that I think, especially where the Bears bye week is too in week 5, that they can take advantage of a situation where if it makes sense for them to bring in talent, that they can take that bye week. It can happen, right before that bye week, right at the bye week, give them that extra week to get somebody ramped up in there, ready to go and be set for week 6 against the Commanders.
Yeah, but they also they could have drafted. I mean, they could have drafted Cam Scatterboo. You know what I mean? Like they could have drafted some of these guys, and I think that's where it kind of comes back to. Like I felt like they had some targets on their board, and once they were gone, they traded out. But then you go back. I mean, dude, they took Torrey Taylor in the 4th round, and Bucky Irving went 4 picks after him. Like, we don't know if they would have taken Bucky Irving, but it's a scout. And Ryan Poles would have traded up for Torrey Taylor. Like, he wanted to trade up for Torrey Taylor too. So it's like,
he did have a good game today.
Yeah, but
he had a nice coffin corner.
yeah, I guess. I have a couple concerns with him that we can share from our show. I just, it's tough. I feel like something has changed since he came from Iowa. I don't know. Maybe it feels like to me, he's holding it just a little too long. Because if you watch that play that Roschon got the penalty, that ball is blocked if Roschon does not commit that hold. That
was a smart penalty.
Yes, that was a smart penalty. And I don't know. I mean, it's like, I don't think it's fair to pile on Torrey Taylor, but like, there's going to be a game where they need some to pin these guys back down. And the first punt he had 34 yards, net of 34 yards. That's not good, man. Like, when you're playing, like we saw at Detroit, when you're playing Detroit, that offense is going to go up and down the field, and you give them the ball at the 40 every time, you're in some trouble.
Yeah, looking at it, he averaged 44 yards on his punts today, a long of 50. So 4 punts for 176 yards. That's the other weird thing. Like, he had 4 punts. Dallas only had 2 punts today. But I guess when you force 3 turnovers, or 4 turnovers, excuse me, that will also help kind of shift that that stat line as well. Just kind of looking over what the rest of the breakdown was here today. Again, for the Bears, 385 total yards to 396 for Dallas. Yards per play, 6.8 for the Bears, 5.9 for Dallas. I will say the efficiency on third down today, 8 of 14 on third down, 3 of 11 for Dallas on third down. And that another big shift. Where they were just able to extend drives. And, we've talked about this numerous times the first 2 weeks, where so many 3 and outs, where the breather was not there for the defense. And it was like you blink and the defense is back out there defending, another drive. And you didn't see that today. I mean, really, the defense had almost the entire third quarter off today, for how it went. And so doing things like that and giving those opportunities and being able to stay balanced, even when the time of possession wasn't necessarily that way. I mean, Dallas won in time of possession today, 32-58 to 27-02. So it's wild to think that there were some pieces there where you want to, find the complaints about, how the first 2 weeks went, but they still managed to do things differently to make an impact and making sure they didn't step on their feet again. And really set themselves back, given, again, the injuries, everything else that's going on. Red zone, 2 of 3, obviously, on that one for the Bears. But again, only 3 yards per carry rushing the ball while allowing 6 for Dallas. But again, the turnover column, 4-0. I mean, any day of the week, it's going to be really hard to lose a game when you're winning the turnover battle 4-0, and that's how you get a 3-score victory.
And red zone, that's a big one. Bears 2 of 3. Dallas 1 of 4. That's how you win football games. And the Bears went out and won a football game today. It was up for grabs there. The line moved a couple times, 1.5 both ways. So that tells you something. That was up for grabs.
Yeah, and looking to next week, the Raiders opening as 2-point favorites.
Yeah, well, you get the 3 at home. So
that's true. So we knocked into one of them.
Yeah,
knocked into one of them. Again, out in Vegas, week 4. The Raiders getting knocked around by Washington today, and Marcus Mariota. Not even Jaden Daniels. They let Marcus Mariota hang 41 on them. So think about that, and the fact that this was a team that also allowed 6.3 yards of carry on the ground. this is the game, I think,
You
where
gotta get
if
right.
you don't get the running game going, there's going to be problems. And I think that you're going to see them amplified in terms of potentially bringing somebody in. And I don't know where we're going to go at that point. I really don't.
Yeah, this is one of those games you should get the run game right and get it going, and you might need it. But like I said, winnable game though, very winnable game for the Bears.
Yep, very much so. As they will take on Ashton Genty, who has not looked like the Ashton Genty of college. I believe today was actually his best game, and it really wasn't that great of a game for him. 17 carries for 63 yards. So yeah, that's his highest total of the season so far. He had 11 for 43 last week, and in week 1, 19 of 38 and 1 touchdown. So not good out of Ashton Genty so far. So again, a very winnable game, and to be able to continue this mentality and come back and potentially end up 2-2 heading into the bye, I think that's only going to bolster how this team feels. The question marks now: who are they going to get back from the injured list? Kyler Gordon, I still don't know what's going on with him. I really don't. TJ Edwards, what's going on with TJ Edwards? Those are going to be, I think, the biggest questions in this coming week is, where are they with those and what type of role are they going to play? Obviously, TJ Edwards is going to slot right back in, but Kyler Gordon specifically, are they going to keep him in a nickel, or are they going to try and move him outside and take advantage of his athleticism, knowing that Jalen Johnson's not coming back this season? I think that there's a lot of questions. I don't know if we're necessarily going to get them answered this week or see that return to the field at Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. But I feel exponentially better than I did 7 days ago. I will say that, knowing that this is a winnable game coming up again, and really prepares them for what is going to be a very difficult stretch over the next 5 games following the bye.
Yeah, it'll be a momentum builder if they can go out and get that win. You got to have a win like this, especially against a poor Raiders team that's now 1-2, and their only wins against the Patriots. This is what Ben Johnson said in the postgame. We still got to get better. Another chance, to go 1-0 next week, and that's kind of how you have to look at it.
Yeah, and I'm trying to see here, in terms of what we want to see out of this team, in terms of maybe outside of the running game, which we've spent a lot of time talking about, the negativity that we're sitting here and seeing. Certain beat writers, talking about, it's the bad defense. And, they come back and they can't figure it out. And it's like fool's gold to try and get things going. I think that for what the season is, and I think it's a perfect example today of this, is the Bears won a game that was winnable, and they should have had a strong chance to stay competitive because of the situation that the Cowboys were facing.
Yes.
You easily could have said that about the Green Bay Packers today with the Cleveland Browns. And look what happened. I mean, they lose to the Browns. Joe Flacco. They give the Browns their first win of the season, and the Browns did not look good the first 2 weeks of the season. So it's things like that where, every team is going to play garbage teams, but you need to try and build on something. You can't build on nothing. And that's what the Bears did today. The main consistency thing I have to see, though, despite having a very good game, and Tom Brady actually talked about this a little bit on the broadcast, was going from the very difficult throws downfield, the deep balls, to the intermediate throws, that 7 to 10 yard throws, where a lot of Caleb Williams' incompletions were today, shorting guys 2-3 yards on the field. That's my biggest takeaway, I think, from today in terms of the improvement moving forward. You gotta hit those guys. You gotta hit the open receivers and make sure you're going from, the long ball to the short pass and just kind of intertwining everything from A to Z. You're an NFL quarterback. You gotta be accurate.
Yeah. Hitting all levels of the field.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, 1-2 on the up and up.
only way to go is up now.
Right. Exactly. And hope that there's not a 1-3 on the horizon, but we will have coverage leading up to week number 4 between the Bears and the Raiders. A week from today is another late game coming up next Sunday as well at 3:25 as the Bears head out west to Sin City to take on the Las Vegas Raiders. So for Zack Pearson, I'm Steven Johnson. Do appreciate each and every one of you for hanging out with us here on this Sunday evening and celebrating a Bears victory, the first one of 2025 in the regular season, and we hope the first of many more to come on this stretch of games now that everything gets rocking and rolling. So have a great start to your week, and we will talk to you later this week talking Bears and Raiders. Take care, everybody.
Later.